So just fess up. Time's up. Give the answer.
Listen, I'm hugely impressed.
Too much parity.
We've had some kids
in
who
the
can't see some of the Olathe kids. I know of one. I think it's great, and I hugely respect. We were talking about it, like some of it's like we don't want our kids to play basketball, right? Like when the Europeans started coming over to the NBA, it was like, well, they put them in these basketball factories when they're 12. Really, you're driving your kid to baseball tournaments in Omaha and Des Moines and Denver, and they're playing 80 baseball games a summer. But because you're going and paying for it, as opposed to the team paying the kid to go play, somehow that makes it okay, right? Like, okay, well, I don't want my kid to drive around. Okay, that's fine, but that's what it takes to be a big leaguer.
Right. I've told the story.
I'm not going to throw my kid's life away. Then he's not going to be a big leaguer, and that's the trade-off you make.
I've told this story many times at the 2015 All-Star Game. I talked to Chris Bryant. He played with Bryce Harper in Las Vegas when they were kids. They're a year apart.
Who is this? Who did?
Chris Bryant.
Okay.
Of the Cubs.
Yeah.
And he played over 180 games a year when he was 9.
Yeah.
When he was 9 years old. Harper was 10, he was 9, or the other way around, maybe. I don't know which one it was. And they played on the same team, and they were playing over 180.
Joey Gallo was on their team also.
Yeah, who beat him? They were probably 180 and old, I would think.
They had no pitching. Couldn't get anybody out.
I think Harper could probably pitch.
Probably.
Bryant probably could too.
Yeah. No, but that's what it takes. And you can sit around and listen, if you make the choice that I don't want my kid to just play baseball all the time, that's fine. But don't bitch about the people that make that commitment.
Right. Do I think it can be beneficial to be well-rounded and play another sport some of the time? Sure. If it takes a certain amount of true greatness. It's not just all hard work too. Let's be.
There's genetics
Let's
involved.
be real. I mean, you can try, and maybe you can be Nicky Lopez, okay? Nicky Lopez isn't gifted with size and strength and whatever, but he's made the major leagues. Is he going to be a great major leaguer? I don't know. We'll see. Or even a good one. Or even a good one.
Haven't you heard? It's already there. I mean, they're preparing. I think they're already painting his face there at the training complex to put him in the Royals Hall of Fame.
You get in there. You get in there hitting 230.
With a 321 slug. I mean,
It was a little unfair the other day after the game. Ned was making a point, but when he was talking about the lineup reconstruction after they batted him second, for all those days, and then they switched him to leadoff. He goes, "Well, it's simple. Witt's got 27 extra base hits or whatever, and Nicky's got none." Well, he didn't have none. I mean, at that point in time, he hadn't hit all singles.
I think in his first 6 hits, he had 2 doubles. But they weren't the dong off the wall kind of double.
No. He's an old-time slap hitter.
Yeah, which is fine.
But
what?
But it's hard, especially in this day and age, with the shifts and everything, that makes your life harder. If you're going to hit the ball on the ground and slap it around.
So let's take a break and we'll come back and we'll talk about some things the Royals need to do if they're going to achieve a championship again. And I know you want to talk about parity.
Right, because the Royals are one of the exceptions to what is a rule, to me, across the world of sports. I thought about it last night as Toronto was creating a series, maybe, in the NBA.
We'll talk more about that with Danny Klinkskill. He's brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. You can find out more at eastonroofing.com, commercial and residential. Remember, got all these storms going on. If some roofer knocks on your door and says, hey, we're going to put in a claim to the insurance company. Come on, I'll get you a new roof. False claims end up being very bad for homeowners. Let Easton Roofing give you a free estimate and let you know whether or not you actually do need a new roof, or maybe it's just a repair. A lot of roofing companies won't do repairs. Easton will. I know they repaired mine. 913-257-5426. Get a free inspection right now. Go to eastonroofing.com.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker of Easton Roofing. And Joe, oftentimes people will wait to replace their roof until there is a weather event. What should they know about that?
Well, Danny, the important thing to remember is if you're going to turn in a claim to your insurance company, you want to make sure that you actually have damage on your home. If you turn in a claim to your insurance company and they send an insurance adjuster out, it's going to be a claim whether they give you $1 or $10,000. So it's important to make sure that you actually have damage on your home before you turn that claim in. And all you have to do is give us a call. We'll come out, take a look, and make sure there's real damage, and we'll tell you if there's not. Maybe it's just a small repair and it's not worth a claim. So it's always smart to get somebody you trust to make sure there's damage before you turn in a claim.
Quality advice and guidance from Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
Danny Unleashed, brought to you by Easton Roofing. Danny, the Royals. They won last night.
Yes, the occasional win. The Royals, tonight, I assume they're going to lose because they have not won on consecutive days in over 6 weeks.
Right, so they've won consecutive games. Like they swept a doubleheader.
They swept a doubleheader. That was in one day. And I think twice, or maybe only once, but twice else since then they have won consecutive games, but there was an off day in between. So Royals fans have not had the chance to soak in more than
24 hours,
18 hours worth of win before they lose again.
Wow.
And that's the thing is that made this season a little depressing. I know it's a rebuild and all that, but could you just lob in a 4-game win streak or something? They just lose 2 out of 3 all the time. I mean, they haven't won a series since that Cleveland series. Okay, so they have no series win even.
Right.
And they haven't even won on consecutive days. They just lose. And that's different. I mean, this is like excellent losing. They are really good at it.
If you flip this around, it's like the resume of a all-time championship
team. This is like it's like the reverse of the Yankees. The Yankees haven't lost a series since I think in about the same span of time. You know, they've gone out and
while dealing with tons of injuries.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what's made it a little depressing. The season probably, if you want to look at this season right now optimistically, you can, because some of the things they needed to have happen to feel good are happening. Hunter Dozier looks like a star.
Yeah.
You know, although, you know, you always hate to hear out with side tightness. That sounds oblique-y, which sucks.
No, it's thorax, Danny. It's thorax.
Is it his thorax?
Well, whatever.
I'd rather have Thor than thorax.
I agree. I don't want to come across as like super negative about the Royals because I do think there are a lot of things to like about where they're going. But I
to be a fan
again,
right now just sucks.
It does because we know what winning looks like.
Right.
It's hard for me. I'm going to be honest with you. I am not living on every pitch, and I won't do it. I mean, I used to do. Okay, I got to grind through and see what this guy throws and what's his pitch sequence and all that. I'm like, no, I don't. Right, because I know what.
There's a lot of fast forwarding on the DVR for me.
Me too.
The Royals.
Me too.
If I get to a certain situation, say early on, Nicky Lopez comes to the plate, I'll watch an entire at bat for sure.
Let's
see what he's
doing,
got.
And, yep.
Somebody's throwing, new guy's throwing, but it's easy to watch a baseball game with that box fast.
Yes.
Okay, nothing's happening. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's a double play. Blah, blah, beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
So you can do that.
And particularly if you've watched the alerts on your phone, you're like, okay, I know where I'm going with this. I know where I'm going with this. I know where I'm going with this.
And that's a shame because I like watching baseball and soaking in the game pitch by pitch.
I do too.
I enjoy it.
But the game's got to matter.
Right. Exactly.
I am not going to sweat pitch by pitch for a team that the next game that matters is going to be in 21 at the earliest.
You know, I ruined a whole forest full of trees with the gigantic scorecards I used to create when I did postgame for years and years and years when the Royals were ass. And I created these big scorecards so that they would have a big individual box there so I could put notes in there, not just 6-3. If something really big happened,
diving stop,
or something like that, or why didn't he, to remind me about some kind of strategic thing, because the hope was that someday it was going to matter what happened with 1 out in the 6th inning. Now, eventually it did. For a couple of glorious years, you're into
5
every
years.
pitch. Everybody talks.
5 years, it mattered.
Everybody, it did. I'll go that far. When you're around 500-ish, it still matters. But people always talk about Fenway Park and the atmosphere there, and why everybody's into the games, pitch by pitch.
St. Louis, same thing.
First of all, it is an intimate atmosphere at Fenway Park. Certainly the atmosphere of the you're really close and all that stuff that helps. But it's because the games matter.
Yes.
I mean, the pitches matter.
And that's what it was
That's why
like at Kauffman
postseason
Stadium.
baseball is compelling.
Yes. So here's I agree with everything you said there. So we're looking at the things that can matter in the future, right? And there are a lot of things that are going on. But I think several things that I think have to happen for the Royals to, get back to playing that kind of baseball is, one, they got to be honest with who the hell they are.
Right.
Right? And that means, will you level that out so it's not sliding down to one side, please? Thank you. Don't jack with my pie. Charcuterie.
Oh, yes.
Nice. My favorite app.
I'm a fan of that, too.
It's so good. That is your wheelhouse.
It is.
The way you like to eat, that is your wheelhouse. But it is it's amazing that you or not amazing. What they have to do is they have to look in the mirror and say, we're bad. And I haven't heard that, and I don't like one of the things I really bristle at is selling the fans on the idea that this team isn't bad. Right? I've heard, they're just a bullpen away. Look, what are we looking up? They got a quality start yesterday from Juna. 6 innings, 2 runs, which everyone's like, a quality start sucks. Remember that? Like back in the day?
Well, no,
like
if the starter goes 6, you're happy. I mean, now people are thrilled with a 5-inning, 2-run start.
It's always mattered. It means you can come out of the bullpen with gas, max effort guys to try to finish it off because you don't have that far to go. It's always mattered. It matters even more today. It's even more of a great stat. When the Royals get a quality start, they are what?
11-7.
Okay, 11-7.
Unfortunately, that's 1/3 of their games.
That's right. When they don't,
8-30.
Okay, that is the key. Their offense is not great. They're down to 9th. People are like, oh, that's not bad. Yeah, but they're trending south.
Right.
They're not going to finish 9th.
And also,
you take over,
the
I'll
Royals
take
have
lower.
an uncanny knack of scoring a bunch of runs when they lob
when it
in.
doesn't matter.
When they win a game. When the rare games that they win, they often put up a bunch of runs.
15-4 type.
Right, like the Yankees. They beat the Yankees in the final game of the series. What was that, 7-1, I think? Or
8-7, wasn't it?
Did the the Yankees came all the way back, but they were ahead 7-1. So, they have a knack for, then they'll go 3 games and score 5 runs.
Right.
I mean, so there's no balance there. So the 9th is almost a little deceiving. Now, I know you pile up a lot of runs in certain games, but it's not like they're going out and getting a consistent 4 or 5.
No, they're not.
And they're only scoring when they homer.
But I think it's important because if you look yourself in the mirror and go, okay, we're not just a player away, then you can look at it and say, we have 2 years of control of Jorge Soler. Okay, we have, after this, we have 20 and 21. Are we winning a championship in 21? Do we believe in this guy for the next 5 years? Do we believe that he's still going to be a top-shelf player? Is he going to hit 40 home runs in 21, 22, 23, 24? Is he Nelson Cruz? Then sign him. Do you agree with me? I think that going into spring training, he either needs to be wearing a different uniform or he needs to be signed, that they've locked up 3 years at a discount.
Because it's going to be difficult to judge this year, too. Look at not the total of Soler's homers at the end of the year, but where he ranks in the American League, for instance.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, if he hits
34
and 27 players hit over 40, then it's a product of the ball.
Yeah.
So that doesn't count as much as 32 in a year where 32 is real good. And unfortunately, the Royals, who had excellent timing when they won the World Series in deciding to play the style of, or having the style of ball they played fall into their lap, whichever way you want to, came in one of the worst run scoring and power years in years.
But they hit for power,
and they hit for some power. They were sixth. They were sixth in offense that year. They hit for some power, but still, their style of play. And in this offseason, the Royals seem to have completely, because they're going to set all kinds of home run records this year, and the Royals have decided that the best way to play was to have Billy Hamilton out there and Chris Owings, and let's run and gun. And by the way, Hamilton has 9 or 10 steals. That's it. I mean,
he doesn't play enough.
I mean, he doesn't get on enough.
Listen, I bought in.
So it was like kind of bad timing, to decide that you were going to be the go-go White Sox of 1959.
I was all ready to be like, okay, let's. I mean, and I'm still fine with it. I'm not mad that they tried it, right? Find out if you can make Billy Hamilton a decent hitter, and then you've got a good defensive center fielder, and he can go, and he can. And stolen bases are important in games that matter,
right,
that are tight. They're super important. We've gotten